What do Falcons do? Freaking frackin' rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, and finally we got a win, guys. I predicted it. I called it. I called several of the upsets over the weekend and missed a couple of them so far, but I think I'm still going to have a winning record this week. But, guys, the Atlanta Falcons managed to hold on to victory and come out on top 27-23 in Seattle. So, really great game overall, competitive game against two teams that have quarterbacks that have not finished a season as a starter ever in their careers. Marcus Mariota has never completed more than 15 games in a complete season, and then Geno Smith has only started a total of 7 games in a year, and now 8 games after this most recent game. So let's talk about the really good, and then we'll talk about some of the bad. First off, really good. We're not going to finish 0-17. We did get a win here. And really, right now, honestly, the Falcons are looking like a competitive team. We could very easily be 2-1 or 3-0 right now. We probably should be 2-1. I'm not going to say we should have beat the Rams. That was a statistical improbability, and it was just something that would have been an amazing storyline for us to come back from. But Marcus Mariota is not looking terrible right now. I would like him to look just a little bit better. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He did run for a grand total of 4 yards. He did have a touchdown with his legs. He had a touchdown through the air to Drake London. They did get Kyle Pitts more involved with, I think, a total of 8 targets, and he had 5 receptions for 87 yards. He should have had another one, but again, this is where Marcus Mariota is not the most accurate guy in the world, and his deep balls are not exactly where they're supposed to be. So, he ends up throwing a bomb to Pitts, and Pitts may have run away with it for a touchdown just given where he was because he had his defender beat. That was one of the opening plays of the drive. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. A guy that looked great, Cordarrelle Patterson, at the age of 31. I think I keep calling him 32 years old, but he's 31. He had 17 carries, 141 yards, a 40-yard long. So he was really busting out and getting a pretty good average there. He did manage to find the end zone on a very well-blocked route for about, I think it was like 12 or 15 yards, something like that. But anyways, a good right side of the field run, went right between the tackle and the guard, really big hole up and down. And that was actually what I would call one of the better moments for our offensive line. Now, we were missing Elijah Wilkinson today, or yesterday, I should say, on the offensive line at left guard. We had Colby Gossett end up stepping up. He played relatively well. He had one really good block early on, and then he did not do quite as well the rest of the game. We ended up giving up 3 total sacks in the game, which I thought was a little bit much to Seattle. But again, it was okay. Michael Walker on defense, oh my gosh, this dude had a pick 6 in his hands and he dropped it. It was so hard to watch, but again, really, really great play from him on the outside linebacker spot. Rashaan Evans, inside linebacker, our former first-round draft pick from Tennessee. They end up letting him go. We pick him up. He's on a 1-year deal. I think he'll end up being a critical part of our defense going forward, so I do look for him to get an extension the way he's playing. Rashaan Evans, 12 total tackles, 9 solo, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 passes defended. So really good day for Rashaan Evans. The other guy, the hero of the game, Richie Grant. He had an amazing, well-timed hit on Tyler Lockett to break up a big pass play in the middle part of the game. I'm glad Tyler Lockett was not hurt. It was a very clean hit. There was no helmet to helmet, and it was perfectly timed. It did jar the ball loose, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do, but Tyler Lockett did take a big hit. I'm never hoping for guys to get hurt. Again, big hit, and then he is the guy that got the game-sealing interception with about 1:15, 1:16 left. So really good game out of Richie Grant. He also had a fair amount of tackles, 7 tackles, 6 solo, and 2 passes defended. Casey Hayward had 6 total tackles. A.J. Terrell, 6 tackles. Grady Jarrett had 1 of 2 sacks on the game at critical moments. Lorenzo Carter had the other sack. So again, we are at a total of 7 sacks in our first 3 games. Again, we got 17 all of last year. 7 sacks in the first 3 games, and that's what's missing from the team. Last year we went 7-10 with a defense that A, was Swiss cheese in big moments, and B, couldn't put pressure on the quarterback. we're putting pressure on the quarterback now. It's a night and day difference on defense, even though at moments we still have that Swiss cheese secondary. It's looking good overall. I don't like that we gave up, let's see here, 12, 19 tackles. Five of our top three of our five top defenders gave up 19 tackles as our secondary. So that means that a lot of passes were getting completed. I just don't like that in general. Again, that's not a good sign for our actual for our pass defense, but you know what? It's okay. Other guys, just kind of looking up here, Armed Epicady, he had one tackle that was solo, and then other rookies, Troy Anderson kind of emerged today. And, Deion Sanders is still not playing right now. Don't know when he's going to be coming back. I don't know if he's going to play any better than these other linebackers, and I'm not sure that he's a guy that's going to necessarily be needed going forward. I think we can kind of move on from him, even though he's been a great player for us for a while now. I don't know if he's going to make us that much better because he really wasn't that great last year. But again, looking around at the offense, Drake London had 6 targets, 3 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Touchdown in a key moment there. 30 yards was his longest completion. Kyle Pitts had a 28-yard long. Zacchaeus had 2 targets. He brought down both of them for 49 yards. Anthony Ferkser, one of the tight ends that we re-signed after initially letting go, he had a target and a reception. Tyler Algier got his first action. He had a 4.2 yard per carry average here. Not too bad, but when Cordell Patterson has 141 yards, what are you going to do? Things I didn't like. We gave up 325 passing yards total to Geno Smith. We did also get the game-sealing interception, but up until that point, we didn't have any turnovers off of him. So I would have liked to have seen better defense from a secondary standpoint. It definitely is something that we'll need to work on going forward if we have a chance of being competitive. But overall, this was a very competitive game. It was highly entertaining to watch. It was not something that I thought, oh, this is just going to be a crap show. And I'm really pleased overall with where the Falcons have found themselves here. So, looking at our schedule going forward, the next game we have is our second home game of the season against the Browns. Again, Jacoby Brissett leading the Browns. He did incredibly well on Thursday Night Football. They have a long week to prepare for this. We're coming back from our West Coast stint here, and we are finally at home for at least one game here. We have them, then we go to the Buccaneers. Now, the Buccaneers, they're still a little banged up. But that defense is very good. That's still not a game I look for us to win. But the way everybody else is playing them, I think we're going to be a lot more competitive. They did lose to Green Bay this week. Then you had the Panthers upsetting the Saints. I definitely call it an upset, though it was close at the end of the game. A failed 2-point conversion was the only thing that didn't send it to overtime. But again, this is a really tight division so far. Not saying there's a great football being played, but we're not the AFC South, which I will talk about later on. Kudos and amazing play from the Jacksonville Jaguars, putting 38-10, a clinic on the Chargers. I believe it was in LA as well. So putting on an amazing game there. Thank you, James Robinson, for being on my fantasy team. Also, thank you, Christian Kirk, for being on my fantasy team. Both of them found the end zone. And yeah, this was a really good week overall for football. I'll probably do a week recap just because I enjoyed this so much. After tonight's game, we do have Dallas versus New York Giants. Again, I did pick the Giants to win this game. I think America is pretty split on it, but I'm going to give 5 Points Vids a shout out here and say, your Giants, your New York Football Giants are going to win this one. They're going to go 3-0 for the first time in years, and you're going to be the clear cut or one of the tied clear cut for the NFC East. So again, this was a really good game by the Falcons, guys. We finally put it all together. Even though it was a close win, I think we could have definitely pulled away with this one if we played just a little bit better in the secondary, or even maybe put just a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. We didn't have a lot of QB pressures. We did have those 2 sacks. But again, this is something that we can build on going forward. I think we have a decent shot at home of beating the Browns. I think the crowd is going to be electric for that one. I will not be there. I've already given my tickets away for that one, as I'd only plan to go to about 3 games this year. The next game I'm going to is on November 6th with the Chargers, and that is to also kind of give a shout out to the long snapper of the Chargers, former 9-year veteran of the Atlanta Falcons, Josh Harris, former number 47 for the Falcons, which has now been taken by Epic Katie. But hey, Josh, if you get a chance to watch this, wish you well, wish your team well, and you're always going to be one of us over here in the Falcons Nation. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought about this game or any game this week. I'd love to open up the conversation and talk to all you guys about the games that happened. We didn't even touch on the Bills the Bills at Miami. What a great freaking game! It's amazing how these small little mistakes can end up haunting you at the end, as a missed field goal and a missed opportunity to take a field goal cost the Buffalo Bills the game in the end. I also think the Heat had a big role on that one, but again, I will break down some of these games on tomorrow's videos. Thank you for watching, and until next time, guys, rise up.